Hello again, Steve here, to share a few thoughts on what I feel is a very important word. This word is experience. Why is it important to me? Well, this whole banner of improving the quality of our life, experiences, is right. It's right in that term, isn't it? Because the only way we can improve the quality of our life is the experience of it. If we think about it, that's why it's so important to be there. However, I think there's a gradient, or a spectrum, if you will, of experience. There's all the way from the completely, what I would call the tangible or the empirical experience. We can put our hands on a table and feel the table. We can gain experience through evidence and rational deduction and putting things together in construct that we can actually replicate on paper and show somebody. We can make a design of something and draw it out and say, here it is. So you can transpose ideas, if you will, to the other end of the spectrum, which would be the experience of imagination, which is still an experience. And all forms of imagination, including dreams. I mean, if you have a dream about something, that you had a dream is real. I mean, you can remember it. It's something that actually happened. And you could even explain in great detail what something looked like in the dream. But one of the things about it is it's less real in a way as in how to replicate it. In other words, I'm going to use a kind of a funny example here. If you were to be driving down the road and saw a wild turkey run across the road, that is a real experience, right? It's real in many ways because you were there, things happen in your imagination, it was kind of surprising or whatever, and you may have had a near miss running into it with your car. You saw it with your eyes. If you had your window open and it was close enough, you may have heard it make a noise, or you may have heard its feet hitting the ground, or flapping its wings or something. You would have sensory experience with it. Now, if you were quick enough and you had your cell phone out, you may have taken a quick picture of it because it was surprising to you. And in that way, you would have greater evidence that it happened, because you could even then show the picture to people, the representation of that turkey running across the road. Now you could also, that's one end of the spectrum we talked about, of the experience, very real, right? The other end of the spectrum is you had a dream about a turkey running across the road. You wouldn't think that it was actually necessarily that a turkey did run across the road, except maybe for the first few moments when you woke up and you're thinking, would that actually happen? No, it couldn't happen because I'm still in my bedroom, not in the car, and it was just a dream. But you wouldn't have a picture of it, and all you would have is the memories of that dream, which you could then explain to somebody, but you could not show it to them with any great detail. You couldn't. You have no evidence of it, and you know that you didn't actually see it with your eyes, hear with your ears. It was a completely imagined thing. Now, I think that one of the reasons why this is, it's also it's important, this topic of experience, and to rely, I would say, more on the tangible, the empirical side of experience, because so much of our quality of life has to do with relationships with others. And there's something about the honesty of real sense-based experience, because we can actually share that with others. We can create art. We can be creative in our lives and build houses and technology and all these sorts of things, and share it with others. We have a free market sharing ideas, sharing products and our thoughts and all these sorts of things we can share with other people. Because that's what relationship is, right? Relating. There's the sharing of something, whether it's thoughts, goods and services, emotions, all these. It's interplay between different individuals. And the better that those relationships are, the better is our quality of life, because we are so much social beings. And therefore, the experience of the tangible and the empirical is so great because we can share those. And also, I would say that the tangible and empirical experience is more of a, what I would call a more complete or holistic experience. You know, the more aspects of ourselves that we can involve in experience, the more real it is for us. The more we have a solid, connected, rational, and sense-based experience with it, which can then be more easily connected to everything else. It's more holistic, I would say. You know, that kind of makes sense too, right? Which means that it has a greater potential to have quality to it. You know, we all know that when we get a product and it is a quality product, it seems to be there's more input into it. There's more refinement to it. It's perhaps a more pure product. There was more time put into it. There was more thought put into it. There was more energy put into it. There was more, perhaps, to repeat, more refinement put into it. More elements, perhaps, like the thought, the design, the time in manufacture, all these sorts of things. When they come together, it creates a more holistic, more complete, more quality product. And if we're talking about quality of our life experiences, then the more tangible, the more empirical they can be, the more connected through our experience, through our reason, through our relationships, and all of these aspects and parts of us, the greater the quality they're going to be. And we can see this too in terms of the spectrum of experience. You know, if we just do most of our experience, if most of our experiences have to do with dreams and faith and beliefs, and they stop there, and there isn't the rational connection or the action steps taken to make those experiences more holistic, then we don't achieve as much, and therefore we don't take the steps to move forward in our experience. I know that sounds maybe a little bit convoluted. Let me use an example. Say there's a relationship that one of us wants to get involved with somebody else, and we remain in the experience of the dream of that relationship, and that's all we stay in. It just becomes a fantasy of a relationship. Well, imagine comparing that to, yes, beginning with the dream and then eventually moving on and developing some sort of relationship based on us approaching that desired other man or woman with showing virtue and kindness and all these sorts of things, and then eventually getting a reaction from that individual or somebody like that individual, so that a relationship develops. You can see that relationship developing is a far more tangible and empirical experience than just the dream. The dream can remain but now it's fortified with the tangible experience. And because of that tangible experience, it's a greater degree of relationship. It's a greater degree of experience. It's a greater degree of happiness in a way too. Like the quality is there. Because there's a completion, if you will. Not so much a completion, but there's a forwarding of the process. And things like qualities such as happiness seem to come about as the result of us going with those steps and keeping on that journey that began with the dream, but is completed with the tangible experience. If that makes any sense. Once again, to recap, my thoughts are is that experience is very important, but it's kind of on a spectrum. There's all the way from the very tangible experience on one hand to the very mental based or perhaps even emotional based dream state experience. And the one is more, I would say, has the tendency to be more fulfilled, although they involve to have even the more tangible and empirical experience. There also must be, I would say, elements of the dream in there, because maybe not always in terms of accidents and these sorts of things, there may not be a direct connection there, but in a lot of times when we go through our lives on paths, right, there's the development stage of what we're thinking about and these sorts of things. So there's elements of the dream in the experience. But I would say the more closely we can get to the tangible and empirical experience, the more powerful it is, especially if it's those things that we really want in life, because they eventually, we get to experience the qualities, and the qualities of those intangibles, like the satisfaction of being able to experience what we so desire to experience. Hope this was helpful. I enjoyed once again sharing some thoughts, not so much just to myself in dreams, but in a more empirical way, because there can be kind of a relationship of communication here. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you realize once again that I'm not trying to teach anybody anything. I'm just sharing ideas on what I feel helps to improve the quality of my life experience. I hope this does for you too. My name is Steve. I'll sign off for now and talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.